Hey traders, CN Trader here. Oftentimes, I get asked when we're doing a long-term trade, like a weekly, monthly, even a daily, what happens if another opportunity pops up in an opposite direction? And so I wanted to go over an example of that because something I'm seeing right now on a trade currently that we have out, and we're currently patiently awaiting targets 2 and target 3 to hit. You see here I have the New Zealand dollar, and we have this nice weekly. Yeah, this took 4 years to develop, right? This goes back to 2015, August of 2015. If I go ahead and take this, you can see we come down into this area August 2015. We just so happen to be around the same time period, roughly, not too far off, where this pattern came to its completion. You see it started this leg, X to A, back in August, and the pattern completed in August, really. Well, September, you could see this one right here where it came all the way down to this level, this nice weekly line that we have drawn here. You could see that was in September. But I had alerted traders on the thread over at Forex Factory, Make and Bank, the harmonic rhythm of the market, back in June to this potential setup that was going to take place right around in here. We were looking at the potential for this to develop coming into this buy zone. And you can see we got entered into the trade here, and we had another opportunity here, and we hit our target 1. Again, if I zoom out, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this as I have on other videos, but you can see our lines, our block lines here, very valid. You can see the structure goes back 15, 17 years, and you can see that the battles have been fought and won and decided and fought again over here in this area. So we want to zoom in a little bit, and you can see what we've done is we got target 1 that attained. We broke out of this structure last week, and you could see we had it tested here, bounced off again, it bounced off, came back down few weeks, finally went up to this level here, and then we broke through. And we had the same thing happen where we just broke through right up here, and we're going to see if we're going to go ahead and get up to this area here. So we'll see if we get our target 2 and our target 3 as we patiently await. But as we do await for that, we are seeing some things on a lower time frame that's worthy of our consideration, things we need to think about. So the first thing, let me just move this over here so you guys know what pair we're dealing with here. But the first thing that we can talk about is this inverted head and shoulder. All right, and this is on a daily basis. So you could see that in September, when we came down into this area, the beginning of September, September 2nd, and we come again, we were at September 30th, beginning of October, and that developed again in October, and we see here. So we have a left shoulder here, we have a head here, and this is an inverted head and shoulders pattern. We have a right shoulder here, and you can see our neckline. You can go up and grab this. Our neckline comes in right around here, and you could see that we broke out right here, kind of gapped up above it a little bit, and just ran up straight, and that was last week. So first thing we look at, I've discussed this in previous videos, but you can see oftentimes when we get a head and shoulders pattern, inverted or regular, you could see the move that it takes to go up to the neckline. We can almost copy that, and once we break that neckline, we're looking for potential for a price to come up here into this zone right in here. Now there's some confluence in that area, very nice confluence that we're going to take a look at. You see the first thing we want to look at is I want to take this swing high right here, and I'm going to come down to this swing low, and you can see we get a 50% retrace. And if I go ahead and take another Fibonacci level and I measure from here to here for an extension, you can see we get the 1.13 extension coming down into this area as well. All right, so that alerts me right away to a potential shark pattern that can develop. And so if I clean this up out of here, whoops, cancel that, go here, and I bring this down to this swing low, and we're looking at a 1.13 extension. You can see my target 2 is right at that level, and you can see price behaving in this potential sell zone right in here on a daily pattern. And we'll go ahead and we'll draw that out. It's going to be from here to here to here, and it's going to be from here to here to here, anywhere in this zone, really. I mean, we can move this here, and we can move it here. This is the zone, the sell zone for a bearish shark pattern. This would be the completion. So we can almost take this right here, kind of bring this over here, give it another potential sell zone coming up into this area. But that ends nicely at that 1.13 extension. So nicely. We also have another confluence area that we can look at. Take this swing high here down to this swing low here, and you can see our 786 comes into this level here. And this is a New Zealand dollar. So the other thing we want to be mindful of is that oftentimes the commodity currencies will respect the 707 and the 141. So if you do your research on that like I have, you'll notice. So we can actually extend this sell zone into this area here. All right in the middle where our target 2 is. Now if we come into this 786 level and we drop down, we could potentially touch this level again, and of course if we do, we come down into this area where we'll look for a retrace of the move. We can potentially have a butterfly pattern that can come all the way up here. So that's something to think about, but again, that would be quite some time before that takes place. I'm going to go ahead and just move this out of the way, put it over here so it doesn't get in the way of what we're doing. So there's some things going on here you can see that are developing. The other thing to be mindful of is we had this nice little AB equals CD pattern that is taking place as well. And you can see we come right up into this area. We're right at a 618 right now, and you can see it's showing some respect to this level right here. You can see the structure. Right? If you look left where it's come up to, you can see these little battles right here. We had this major selling that came in, so we had some supply that came in here. And again, we had, if we go left, if we look left, we see this little area where we had some major demand to come in. So on a daily chart, this could also be considered a line where price is respecting through time, and we could see battles in here, battles in here. You can look, we can go all the way over here and see. Well, you can't really see that because I don't have it right there. You see that this candle right here. Okay, so a nice area where we've seen price kind of come down. Now we could see it come down here, maybe retest this level, come down a little bit further, come back up and break through potentially, and we could see it come up to a 786, and in that case we would have a Gartley pattern. But we'll see how that develops. The other thing we can have is if we measure this move from here to here, we're looking at a potential 3 drives patterns. Now I'm not in a forex market, I'm not a big necessarily proponent of the 3 drives pattern, these retraces having to be exactly the same. Oftentimes I'll say 3 hits to the upside or 3 hits to the downside, 3 drives, whatever you want to call it, but they don't necessarily, for me, have to be the exact same retrace, Technically, for harmonic analysis, that's what the books will tell you, but in the world of forex and different brokers, different price fees, different things like that, I'm not really worried too much about that. So again, you have this AB equals CD pattern. You can see, look, it comes nicely into this potential 886 up here. We can also see 786, maybe it wicks, doesn't quite get that 86, and then comes down. But if we do get this 886, you can also see we have this retrace here at 38. So we get a potential development that's happening at this level where we can have a potential bat pattern. That would look something like this. I'm going to draw this out because this doesn't really require that a pullback happen for this to develop like a Gartley here would require. So let's go ahead and I'll draw that in. It's going to look something like this. And we'll just go ahead and we'll change the color of this. If I can, oh, here we go. We'll just change it to, yeah, I don't know, we'll use khaki or something. Here we go. It's ugly, but there it is. Whoop, that's the wrong one. Let's try this. And we'll go here, make it that, and we'll change this one back to the green. Okay, so we got that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take this, copy it over, and we're going to look at it something a little like this. Now, this isn't guaranteed that any of this is going to happen. These are just some potential. It's how we look forward, looking at some potential areas and zones that we want to be concerned with. But all these areas provide opportunities for us. When we're looking at the way this is respecting this daily right here, there was an opportunity if you wanted to get short. Also an opportunity if an individual wanted to wait for that retrace back, potentially buy in some of these zones. Maybe this area here, we want to see how price behaves in this area. We're going to want to see how price behaves in this area. But if a bat pattern is completed, we have this sell zone here, and you could see that the B portion of this bat pattern, if price does come down into here, we have potentially something else on a bigger scale. I'm just going to go ahead and take this. Left shoulder can be moved over here. Right shoulder can be moved over here if we get price to come down into this area. And you can see this B portion of the pattern for oftentimes where profit could be taken, or we could look for price to try to get to a retest, maybe this area here. We can have an inverse head and shoulder on a larger scale that takes place in this area. And of course, if we look at that move, if that were to happen, again, this is some time out, but we can look at, we're going to have to go up to a weekly, and we can look at the potential for a move like this to happen. Some people might call me crazy, right? Well, we'll never get back up here. Well, many people say we'd never get back down here. All right, that was a 4-year period it took to get back there. So this one up here, this started in 2017. So we're talking months, before we're ever up in this area. But if you look at something here, if you look at this swing high to this swing low, you can see we come up to a 50. And if we take this and we measure that extension, 131, just past it, now we're looking at an 886 to a 131 down the road. If this dollar ever gains some momentum to the weak side and the commodity currencies start to turn around, and look for opportunities for it to get long. And you can see this break of this, what would be, it's not even developed yet, so we don't know, but what could potentially be a inverted head and shoulder or a move to the upside breakout. You could see we have it, and it's a nice 200 extension as well, right off of this swing high, this swing low. So we could see price coming up into this area. There's lots of confluence up in that area. So those are all possibilities that could take place. But this is what I like to do. I like to kind of analyze. This is ongoing analysis. This can change as price changes, as developments change, as fundamental news and analysis changes, as wars either are fought or threatened, as presidents change, as heads of central banks change, all kinds of things. Central bank focus or strategy changes, all these things, many things could happen in this time period. But as far as a big picture, this is kind of the things I look at. So right now I'm currently long. I'm watching these areas closely. Potentially I may take my profit, get short, look for opportunity to get long again based on developments, Or I may just look at these opportunities to the downside as more opportunities to get long and just stay pat, stay disciplined, and be patient for these targets to get hit if and when they do. They could provide opportunities. The move down could provide more opportunities to get long. So we're going to watch behavior. We're gonna make our decisions based on what could potentially or what is developing at the time. So these are some potential scenarios. Go down to a daily. We can see them on 4-hour as well, and we'll make our decisions based on that. So all that said, I hope this helps. Stay disciplined, stay patient, commit and pay attention to your work ethic. Enjoy, have fun, trade your plan, make a great day. Do your own due diligence, and may we all make bank. Game changing bank. The kind of bank that makes you just think and grow.